Before the appearance of the time leaderboard, there were two types of activities for invisible people. First, predict.I.P.8 in the Black Tower games. Second, rest. Every time they complete a Black Tower game, they can get a 10-minute break. They can choose to not take a break and go directly to the next game. However, I think that everyone will choose to rest and recharge their batteries. The place where they rest must look exactly the same as Earth. Tang Mo nodded. Even after the appearance of the time leaderboard, there are only two places for the invisible people to move. One is the Black Tower instances and the other is the place to rest. The pair glanced at each other and concluded, that place is exactly the same as Earth. If it wasn't completely consistent, the invisible people would be able to discover change in their surroundings when they came to Earth. All the invisible people encountered by Tang Mo, whether they were weak or the 89th ranked Li Chaocheng, didn't notice the truth that the two worlds were combining and they were coming to Earth. Tang Mo thought for a moment. That's why the Black Tower called Mu Huixiu a player of China District 3 and Daijin Galava a player of South Asia District 1. Fu Wenduo said, Daijin Galava should be an Indian name and South Asia District 1 is likely to be the Indian capital of New Delhi. The probability is high that China District 3 is Guangzhou and Shenzhen. Tang Mo followed Fu Wenduo's thoughts. One is an Indian player and the other is a Chinese player. It is clear that in the world of the invisible people, the Black Tower clearly divided players by areas. It is interesting that this geographical division was exactly the same as the current global geographical division. Thus, they live on Earth as well. This time Jack understood what the other three people meant. Chen Shan first shook her head before nodding again. I don't know. There might not be a new Earth and the invisible people are living beside us. For example, there might be an invisible person sleeping to the right side of me. However, the two worlds aren't fused so I can't see him and he can't see me. Or maybe the Black Tower really created another Earth and the invisible people are playing on that Earth. They are trying to clear the Black Tower's fourth floor to return to Earth. Chen Shan paused before saying, this sentence isn't what I said. The Black Tower told them to return to Earth. Things suddenly fell into a deadlock. For the surviving players, whether the invisible people were really living on a second Earth or not didn't matter to the surviving players. There are two important things right now. First, Fu Wenduo just cleared the Black Tower's third floor. The difficulty was higher than normal so the Black Tower gave an extra reward. The Black Tower recommended to the surviving players to clear the Black Tower's fourth floor as soon as possible. Tang Mo looked at the people in the word and emphasized, the second is, to break them one by one. Fu Wenduo stated, we can attempt the Black Tower's fourth floor in a few days. Based on the difficulty of the third floor, the fourth floor should be okay. We just need to be careful and there will be a chance to clear the instance. Jack wondered, what do you mean by break them one by one? Tang Mo didn't answer as he looked at the girl sitting in the chair. Chen Shinshin's hair was messy and she didn't seem to take care of herself. She tucked her hair behind her ears and spoke her plan. It is undeniable that some invisible people have discovered the truth of the two worlds combining. The surviving players can also discover it. It is even more undeniable that the vast majority of invisible people don't know about this. They will think of the surviving players on Earth as pigs because there are no numbers on their neck and casually kill them. Her voice stopped and Chen Shan sounded a bit happy. This is our chance. Fu Wenzheng listened for a long time and immediately understood. We are going to kill them while they are defenseless. The words were straightforward and there weren't any problems with them. Yet the room became still once they were spoken. After a moment, Fu Wenzheng whispered, Brother, I know what you mean. The invisible people appear along and they don't take any precautions against us. Kill them. For every person we kill, there is one less enemy. This way, the situation will become better for us once the two worlds actually combine. But there is clearly no deep hatred between us, the players on the time leaderboard give rewards and the invisible people tried to kill them. However, the survivors on Earth couldn't predict I.P.8 in the leader. Tang Mo killed Li Chaocheng and didn't get a golden number on his neck. Why should the humans of both camps kill each other? It would be good if everyone could coexist peacefully. There was something that Fu Wenzheng didn't say. He still thought in his heart that perhaps after the integration of the two worlds, the invisible people's living environment would be the same as survivors and there would be no need to kill people for rest time. They didn't need to fight anymore. Fu Wenduo looked down at his little brother. Xiao Fu was shocked and couldn't help asking, Brother, why are you looking at me like this? Fu Wenduo spoke lightly. I'm checking how you can have the surname of Fu. Fu Wenzheng was surprised. Then the child realized and his face changed color. It was implying that he was too stupid to have the surname of Fu. Fu Wenzheng felt very wronged but he didn't dare resist. Tang Mo sighed and prepared to speak. He had just opened his mouth when Chen Shinshin's calm voice was heard. Fu Wenzheng, this situation isn't impossible but the probability is very low. I guess that it is no more than 10%. You didn't see Li Chaocheng, the 89th person on the time leaderboard. He thought his acting was good but Tang Mo and I could see that he holds hostility towards the surviving 400 million players. Chen Shan narrated the facts with calm words. He wanted to kill the 400 million people. In other words, the invisible people who aren't pigs can no longer be viewed with an ordinary person's perspective. Xiao Sheng, what if you were suddenly thrown into an endless survival game and there is only 10 minutes of rest time? You don't have time to eat and sleep. Your spirit is tense and after spending 3 months like this, what mentality will you have? Fu Wenzheng opened his mouth and didn't say anything. He felt that he wouldn't have survived 3 months. Even if he lived, he might have gone crazy. Chen Shan declared, this is one thing. Then the time leaderboard opened. If it was me, I would have gone crazy the moment the Black Tower announced this system. I want to live and I want to eat. Thus, I have to kill. Tang Mo quietly looked at Chen Shanshan. The short-haired girl seemed serious and didn't lie. Once forced to that moment, she really would kill people. In order to keep herself alive, she would kill people. Maybe she wouldn't indiscriminately kill innocent people, but she wouldn't hesitate to kill everyone who targeted her. It was because she wanted to live. The 3 days after the time leaderboard opened were probably the darkest 3 days in the world of the invisible people. Even if you didn't kill people, people would come to kill you. Some people's golden numbers on their necks soared while some people died on the first day. They haven't had a break for 3 months and were exhausted by the endless Black Tower games. This time it was really a permanent break. They experienced such AH.E.L.L. and suffered cruel treatment. The reason was just their luck was too bad. The Black Tower said that luck was a type of strength. They didn't make it online and this was the price they had to pay. Tang Mo suddenly asked, the surviving players are divided into 3 types, the official players, the reserve players and stowaway. Who do you think the invisible people hate most? Jack scratched his head and thought about it. Stowaways. The Black Tower hated stowaways the most. Tang Mo looked at Fu Wenzheng again and the child lowered his head, not speaking. Fu Wenduo answered in a low voice. The reserve players. Then he added, after that it is the official players and finally the stowaways. Jack froze for a moment before realizing. Yes, it is the reserve players, the invisible people hated reserve players the most. Stowaways entered the game because they killed someone. They encountered difficulties after the Earth went online because of the Black Tower. Official players were lucky and triggered a Black Tower game during those 3 days, successfully clearing the instance. However, the luckiest people were the reserve players. The reserves occupied the largest number of survivors and some of them didn't know what they had done to become reserves. They survived. There was no need to take part in endless Black Tower games. They also weren't hated by the Black Tower. As long as they cleared the first floor, they could gain abilities. Perhaps there were some invisible people who didn't want conflict with the surviving players. After the 2 worlds merged, they just wanted to live well. However, more invisible people would have an irrevocable hatred towards survivors. They were deadly because their strength was much higher than the surviving players. In their eyes, the surviving players were no different from pigs. Once the 2 worlds combined, the conflict between both camps was inevitable. Jack felt a bit uncomfortable as he thought for a long time before wondering, is there no way? Tang Mo's eyes suddenly became cold and he turned to look out the window. Fu Wenduo acted faster than him. Fu Wenduo was standing close to the balcony and he shot forward like lightning. The next moment, there was a sharp collision sound and his black weapon collided with a knife. Fu Wenduo used one hand as support while landing in the yard. A slender figure took 3 steps back before stabilizing their body. The group immediately headed to the courtyard. Tang Mo saw the face of the person and his expression sank. He gripped the small parasol and coldly looked around, wary of any enemies who could attack at any time. On the other side, Fu Wencheng's expression also changed and he pulled out a pistol while staying close to Chen Shanshan. If the enemy really did strike, he would go together with Chen Shanshan since they were the weakest. Jack's eyes opened with surprise when he saw the person. Chen Shanshan muttered in a strange voice, Lian Yuzheng. The long-haired woman standing in the dark night was the most famous female singer in China, Lian Yuzheng. There was a shallow B.L.O.D.Y cut on her face and her trousers were severed, revealing a gash on her knee. Lian Yuzheng's hair was stained with blood and mud. Tang Mo sensed that something was wrong and quickly looked at Fu Wenduo's black weapon. He saw that there was no blood on the sharp weapon and a strange premonition filled his heart. Fu Wenduo gazed indifferently at the young man standing not far away. He seemed calm but his body was tense and focused on the surroundings. 3 seconds later, Fu Wenduo stated calmly, "You are alone." Lian Yuzheng was silent for a long time. "Yes." Tang Mo came forward. "What happened to only doing things 3 times? This has nothing to do with that. It was my decision to find you and the leader doesn't know. Although by now he should know." Tang Mo's brain worked quickly and there was already an answer in his heart. He turned to look at Fu Wenduo and Fu Wenduo nodded to him. Chen Shanshan realized that something was wrong, but she didn't know the relations.H.I+ P between the Tianqian organization and Tang Mo and couldn't guess the truth. Lian Yuzheng was silent for a long time. "Yes." Tang Mo came forward. "What happened to only doing things 3 times? This has nothing to do with that. It was my decision to find you and the leader doesn't know. Although by now he should know." Tang Mo's brain worked quickly and there was already an answer in his heart. He turned to look at Fu Wenduo and Fu Wenduo nodded to him. Chen Shanshan realized that something was wrong, but she didn't know the relations.H.I+ P between the Tianqian organization and Tang Mo and couldn't guess the truth. Lian Yuzheng took a deep breath before speaking very calmly, "Qi Heng died. He was killed by an invisible person. The other person has more than 3,000 minutes of rest time and should be on the time leaderboard. You should already know what the time leaderboard is and understand what I mean. I came here today to ask for your cooperation." Her voice stopped abruptly. Lian Yuzheng's face was blank and her tone had no ups and downs. Still, everyone could tell that she was very sad. She declared with a blank face, "I want to kill the invisible people." Added a KO5 for the people asking for an alternative to Patreon. You can also join my Discord channel to chat with fellow readers about the novels.